Fan scriptures on air.
Hey everybody! Welcome back to the Fan Scripture On Air podcast. Today, I'm your boy Flash205, and we got
I'm your other host, Darth Proteus.
and we also have Jacksepticeye. Oh, it's actually Jeff. Jeff is here to talk about his project, Thor. So, how's that how's that going, buddy?
I think it's going pretty well.
From what I understand, it's a much more mythological take on the character than like the MCU, right? Because it started out in that way, but even then it was never like fully committed to that because it did like the Earth shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to take more from the Norse myths than any of the other Marvel properties before. For me, it's a very interesting topic, and I've always found it very fascinating. So I thought, why not implement that in my script?
So there's no Earth scenes at all? So it's
Nope.
just on Asgard?
It's on Asgard and other mythological places.
Oh, alright.
And honestly, I would say that's how it should be because like, let's say like the first two Thor movies might have been at least, I mean, I like the first, but they probably would have been better if they were all on Asgard instead of jumping all over the place. I don't
Yeah, I
really
agree.
think anyone cares about the Earth scientists.
No, no one does. But, I mean, I think you can make a better movie than at least the first two. Because, first one, I'm not going to diss it, because, Proteus is here, but...
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, like, the pacing is a bit off, especially when they get to Earth. The tonal shift is very noticeable, but, like, I think they just managed to stick the landing, what was, like, that ending there.
Mm-hmm.
The Asgard scenes in the first movie were very good.
I definitely liked your idea to approach this with a much more like attention to the original myths and not just the original Thor comics, because that was a similar route to how Cage approached Wonder Woman: Fall of the Gods to deal with and the occasional lack of like really great Wonder Woman villains in some ways, and that worked out really well. After all, it gave us Cronus Pex, so
Yeah, let's go. I wrote a whole essay about it.
yes.
So, are you taking any inspiration from the movies? Like, is there anything that you want, you liked, and you're like, maybe I'll keep that, but the rest will be like original?
Well, not so much from the movies, but I'm borrowing some stuff from the comics. Obviously, because it is a Marvel movie, I'm not going to completely focus on the Norse myths. I need to take something from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the 4 comics, so it kind of worked out for me in the end. He's probably one of my favorite heroes. He's up there anyway.
I think he's a really interesting character, one that honestly probably was not talked about enough, at least before the movies had introduced him to more people, because I think a lot of people just assumed that he was either exactly like he was in the Norse myths or like he had the same perception as Aquaman until like a few years ago as like this goofy character.
Yeah, I'm glad that he's been taken a bit more seriously now.
Yeah, I do think that's pretty good, and admittedly, while I don't love everything about Ragnarok, I do like that they've also made it very clear that he doesn't require Mjolnir to do everything, because I think that especially Dark World leaned a little too heavily on the use of that crutch in particular.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly is your goal for like the way that you shape Asgard? Because like there's a very I think that's one of the parts of the key to the story, because yeah, sure, it might not seem all that important, but like Asgard, I feel like is probably, well, it's like basically the foundation upon those kinds of stories. How exactly are you going to approach it? Are you going to push it to the similar way that like, is it actually like this like really grand kingdom, or is it a flawed and more complex history like the way that Ragnarok presented it?
Well, in the Norse myths, the gods, they're not actually very nice people. So I wanted to try and portray that a bit more.
Yeah, that makes sense, because like I guess a lot of early mythologies tended to portray gods like human-like, so yeah, they're total dicks in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, I think with Asgard, I'm going to try and make it a bit more, I wouldn't say flawed, but more two-dimensional,
Wait, more two-dimensional or three-dimensional?
Sorry, more three-dimensional.
You're gonna be a musician.
Is Loki going to be as important? Because I feel like he's somehow both underused and overused. I can't really explain it. Like there are certain movies where he's completely like overused in like the current franchise, and then they just kind of like completely waste him in others. Is the way I see it.
Loki is going to be very important, and probably not in the way that you expect.
Sounds pretty good to me. I always liked him like as a character, you know.
You know, he fucked the horse.
Like the first Thor movie, actually, he was kind of sympathetic, but then like literally every single movie, he's just completely mustache twirling villain type.
But he's charismatic, Proteus. That's all.
Okay, yes, he's charismatic, but he's still.
He's handsome.
God, are you gonna turn into one of those? You're gonna turn into one of those people.
Maybe, perhaps.
I assume that like I mean, I assume you've also got a lot of ideas of what to do with like Odin. You know, like he's kind of, you know, he also has a lot of different interpretations. Like I understand that in the myths he was a. That's actually one of the things that like the movies did very well, because he's not actually that sweet wise old man you kind of expect him to be. He actually is kind of cruel in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, he's a fucking bat. Like, I don't know why people have this perception of Odin being a nice person, because he's really not. None of the gods really are.
He basically he treats his own sons like just tools that have to fulfill a legacy, and like they can't even. I get that's probably one of the main reasons why Loki is always dicking around with the rest of them, because he does kind of get treated like shit in comparison.
Yeah. I think even in the old Norse myths, there was a side that you could argue for Loki, even if he did some fucked up shit.
Was he always like actually just a do like the frost giants exist in Norse myths and like a Jotunheim? I assume they do.
Yeah.
But he wasn't one of them, was he?
No, he was the son of the king of Jotunheim. And Odin. Yeah. In the Norse myths, Loki is actually Odin's adopted brother.
Oh.
So he's actually Thor's uncle. It's a bit of a different relationship. But
yeah, that sounds almost like that almost sounds like a twisted Hamlet kind of thing. Although I certainly hope there's no like weird relationship going on with like anyone's mother or anything.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, considering that Loki will literally like bang anything that's living, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he did. I mean, like we all know the horse story. I mean, there's a reason his helmet's got the giant ram's horns. You know, it's blatant symbolism.
Well, that's not a horse.
And from what since I know Earth will be minimal at this point, but like, has your version of Thor like ever been there? Like, has he even been there, even for like ancient times? Like, he knows they exist, right?
Yeah, he has been there before, but it's not in the movie. Right.
Because I mean, like, which one is Earth again? Midgard. That's one
Midgard,
of the realms, right?
So will it have more of maybe like a darker tone, like since it's playing through the mythology, or is it gonna be like a mix? Like, what kind of film would you say it is, tone wise?
Definitely more darker, but it doesn't take itself completely seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Or comedic parts to it. But
well, I mean, I mean, it's I always appreciate that, because I mean, you can still very serious film and at times like embrace the absurdity of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Even Fantastic Four Doomsday, which ends on like a pretty light note. It starts out as like this really dark look into tragic childhood, and you know, Reed kind of starts out as like a bit of a scientist going way too far to achieve what he wants.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where the MFSU will go.
I have faith in it. I think it's really interesting, especially because like which granted I do appreciate, because it is definitely in line with what the feel of those movies would be. Even when the Neo Raimi-verse movies get dark, they never have lost their, that sense of fun that the Raimi movies always had. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, I think that's pretty much all. I'm
Oh.
just glad that people are interested, and I'm excited to show it to you.
Oh yeah, of course. I am excited to see it, because I know you can do good stuff. I know you've always been interested in his character, and I think it'll be a pretty interesting movie. And been great having you guys on. I think that's it from us.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Poggers.